start Sunday when the red-hot New Orleans Saints, who, by the way, were the first team in the NFL to clinch a playoff berth yesterday. Keyshawn J. Will Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, on the way here in moments. Key, too little, too late?
It probably is, and because the Giants have the momentum in the division, and then we'll see what Washington does tonight. But I think it's a little bit too late, but it's not too late in terms of looking ahead to 2021's offseason. Hopefully we'll have some sort of normalcy in terms of the offseason late where they can get some OTAs in, and now you can actually get to work from Jalen Hurts. But look, as I said it with Mike Tannenbaum on, and I've said it to Jay Will and yourself, if I'm the general manager, the Jalen Hurts era starts today for me. It really does into the end of the season. Doesn't mean I go into next season with him as the starting quarterback. I go into next season with him in a quarterback competition with Carson Wentz. Because if Carson Wentz was to win that competition next year, okay, fine. We'll roll the regular season with him. In the moment that he stumbles, Jalen Hurts is ready to go. I could cut bait at the end of the year because I don't owe him more money.
Indeed. Last week, Wentz stood up in front of the team and essentially said, "It's on me." It was received well by the rest of the squad when he stood up. But obviously right now, the rest of that squad probably feels like the rest of the way our best chance to win is with Jalen Hurts. There's so much quarterback conversation to get to, and let's get to it with our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, spent a dozen years under center in the league. In just a moment, in 1989, there was a movie called The Fabulous Baker Boys. Key, you remember that? Jeff Bridges, Bo Bridges, Michelle Pfeiffer.
I know the actors and actress, but I don't know the movie.
Yeah, not sure if it's on Redbox. We'll have to check. But from the Fabulous Baker Boys to a Fabulous Baker Boy. We'll talk about that with Dan in just a second. That was the good. But Dan, the bad, you have been a staunch supporter of Carson Wentz here. After what you saw yesterday, what are your thoughts?
Z, so many. I think, first of all, credit Jalen Hurts for going in and playing well when given the opportunity. Okay, so the question goes, well, what now? What should they do next week? Well, it's not as simple as just play Jalen Hurts, and it's also way bigger than just play Jalen Hurts, right? So if you're going to go, what's the best interest for our football team right now? The answer could probably be, let's play Jalen Hurts. Let's see what he has, for sure. But when you do that, you have to ask yourself this question. Is the starting quarterback, is Carson Wentz mentally tough enough to handle that decision? And if your answer is no, we don't think he is, then you ask yourself the question, did we make a mistake, right? Because you want your quarterback to be able to handle anything. Like, they've got to be an absolute steel fortress mentally.
Dan, wait. We're asking a guy that we paid millions of dollars to if he's mentally tough enough to handle that? That's what we're really asking?
For sure, Jay. You got to figure that. I mean, because here's the thing. Not everybody is. And that's what I'm saying, though, Jay. Because if you ask that question and you answer it as no, I'm not in the building, right? But if you answer it as no, we don't think he is, we think this could be the final straw that completely breaks him, then you got issues, right? Because then you go, well, maybe we did make a mistake as far as, like, giving him all that money to be the absolute franchise quarterback outside of the talent. But then you go, well, how do we make the move then, right? Like, how can we start Jalen Hurts then if we don't feel that Carson is good enough? And guys, like, you got to understand, Jay, you notice, Z, like, this is now the second person in power in that organization that has chose, I guess, in a different way or gone in a different direction than Carson Wentz. Their general manager, Howie Roseman, drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. After last year's performance, when Carson Wentz finally moves on from the whole Nick Foles thing, right? So then you're going, as a quarterback, as a player, you're going, well, what the heck, man? And now Doug Peterson has benched you. And you guys, I don't know if you've heard the comments yet today, but Carson after the game was like, oh, I didn't have a conversation with Doug. I didn't know what the plan going into the game was going to be. Like, how do you not have those conversations? How are you not going, hey, Carson, if we struggle, Jalen's going to have the chance to come in. And if he plays well, I'm going to leave him in there. Like, the lack of communication right now in the organization is not good. And the quarterback has absolutely zero confidence. And then he can't say some of those things are out of my control. That's incorrect. Jalen Hurts getting on the field is in your control. He got on the field because you haven't played well enough.
Dan, let me ask you this, and be honest with me here. Is he a franchise quarterback? Carson Wentz,
I think Key, talent-wise, unquestionably. Like, unquestionably talent-wise, no hesitation, that guy's a franchise quarterback. You don't have in the first 3 years of your career 81 touchdowns, or the last 3 years, 17, 18, 19, 81 touchdowns and 21 picks. I mean, that is unprecedented performance, right? So you don't have that and not have the talent to be a franchise quarterback. Now, again, not being in the building, hearing things, there's obviously some stuff going on behind the scenes that makes you at least be worried that can he handle being the franchise quarterback, the unquestioned leader, the absolute rock star of a city like Philadelphia. The fall off from last year has been stark. And I have been somebody that has said it's bigger than just the quarterback. He's playing his part, but it's bigger than just the quarterback. So I just know this, Key, and you know this, man. Like, you don't just find talent. You don't just find it and think it's okay. And that's why my point was of this is bigger than just should they start Jalen Hurts. Everyone has pointed to it's nearly impossible for Carson Wentz not to be there next year as their starting quarterback because the finances. That's why you have to find out where he is mentally.
Help me with this, Dan, because I don't know everything about football and I don't know everything about quarterbacks or the history of football. But my eyes tell me, having played in the league as long as I've played and been around the league as long as I've been around, I've never seen a franchise quarterback that is young get benched and then come back from it. Have you? I've never. Guys usually get benched. When they bench, the organization is pretty much done with them. I've never really seen that happen. Have you seen it where a guy at Carson Wentz style, meaning like his third, fourth year franchise guy, gets benched and then they go back to him?
No, I mean, it's a great point, Key. I haven't seen it. I know Max always brings up this happened to something like Donovan McNabb many years ago, and ended up leading them.
But he was at the end, though. He was at the end of his career.
Yeah, I don't recall that one. I personally don't recall that one. So that like I don't remember a time when a team has decided to bench. I mean, we're a year removed, or maybe 14 months removed from them giving him a huge contract, and then we're 11 months ago or 12 months ago from him and Doug carrying this team into the playoffs and having just an absolutely spectacular run in performance. And so that's why, like, you're right. I also don't know when was the last time that we saw a guy have such highs and be so on this meteoric rise in his career and then have such a fast fall down. I don't know when the last time I saw something like that at the position.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another quarterback in the Cleveland Browns and another guy that you've been breaking down all season long in Baker Mayfield. How big was yesterday for Baker Mayfield? He passed the quiz. He has the test.